Sorceress Sellen is an NPC that is among the earliest in Elden Ring to teach you sorceries, and you could just leave her role in the game to just that. But if you want to know what secrets the mysterious stone masked sorceress holds, you'll need to fulfill your duties as her apprentice. And if you're trying to get ready for Shadow of the Erd Tree, that's definitely something that you'll want to do. Here's how to complete Sorceress Sellen's questline. You can find Sellen right at the start of the game in Limgrave by heading to the Waypoint Ruins, located right here. Head down the stairs, defeat the Pumpkinhead mini-boss, and then head through the door to talk to Sellen. She'll make you her apprentice, and if you're an intelligence build, definitely use this opportunity to buy some spells from her, and also bring back any scrolls that you may find, which will increase the number of spells that she'll be able to sell you. This is honestly all you'll be able to do for this questline for quite a while, so spend this time leveling up, upgrading your weapon, and just playing through the game as normal, not worrying about this particular questline until you manage to reach the Altus Plateau. You'll also want to make sure that you go through the Academy of Raya Lucaria and defeat Renala, so that you can quickly fast travel back here for the last part of this quest. You'll be able to reach the Altus Plateau in one of two ways, either by finding both pieces of the Dectus Medallion, which are located in Fort Height in Limgrave, right here, and Fort Faroth in Caelid, right here. Or you can fight your way through the mountain path by heading to the ravine northeast of the Bellum Church in Liurnia, ultimately defeating the magma worm Makar along the way. Technically, there's also a third way to get here by getting abducted and ending up at the Volcano Manor, but that's not really an ideal outcome here. The next step will be to find Sorcerer Azur, which is trickier than you might think. You'll need to take the long way around Mount Gelmir. So follow this path that starts at the Erd Tree Gazing Hillside of Grace, goes up the rocky trail just to the left, through this valley of awful exploding rocks, past the Seath Water Terminus site of Grace, past another magma worm, through the Hermit Village, and you'll find Azur off on his own by another side of Grace. Once you try to talk to him, you'll collect the powerful Azur Comet spell, and then return back to Sellen to complete this step. After talking with Sellen and finding out a little more about her backstory, your next task will be to find Sorcerer Lusat. To do this, you'll need to travel to Caelid, with the easiest way of reaching there being the teleporter located behind the Third Church of Marika in Limgrave. From here, ride down the stairs, past the dragon, around the left side of the minor Erd Tree, use the updraft to reach the platform above to get to Fort Faroth, and then from there, follow this path down to another updraft, and head to the left to reach a cemetery with an illusory wall behind the large tombstone. This will take you to the Celia Hideaway, which is a fairly dark dungeon, so make sure to either bring a torch, or preferably a lantern, which you can buy from this merchant in Liurnia. Partway through the dungeon will be a point where you can go through to a new cavern, or walk across a crystal with a snail on it. Head to the left, across the crystals, and drop down onto the large crystal below. Follow the path of water to the left to reach a sealed door guarded by a mage. The key that Sellen gave you will allow you to break the seal on the door and reach Sorcerer Lusat. After speaking to Lusat and gaining the Stars of Ruin spell, return to Sellen once again for the next part. Sellen's questline comes to a bit of a pause here until you beat Radahn, who is a major boss, though not entirely required to actually beat the game. So head on over to Redmane Castle in the southeastern part of Caelid. Radahn is a tough boss, and more than anything else, he's really a boss meant to grief you if you're not a high enough level thanks to his massive amount of health and ridiculous damage that he can do with his attacks. Generally, we'd recommend being around level 60, but preferably 70 or so before attempting him. Once Radahn is dead, return to Sellen once again for the next part of this quest. Next, you'll have to find Sellen's real body, which is being confined in the Witchbane ruins, which can be found just south of the Fourth Church of Marika in the Weeping Peninsula. You'll need to defeat a big old boulder of sorcerer heads in order to access the stairs leading down to Sellen's prison. Sellen will have you absorb her soul into a primal glintstone with the hope of you transferring it into a new body. These next two steps are interchangeable, but either way, you'll want to head back to Redmane Castle to talk with Jerren. Now that Radahn's dead, he's able to leave the castle to pursue his own personal vendetta, which, of course, involves Sellen. After you talk to him, you can head back to where Sellen's body was confined to find him standing over a murdered Sellen, not knowing that you're currently holding on to her soul. To find a new home for Sellen's soul, you'll need to progress through a bit of Ranni's questline. To do this, you'll need to head towards Caria Manor, located in northern Liurnia. Fight your way through, or simply just run past the horrifying hand enemies, defeat this mini-boss, and then continue onwards to reach the Three Sisters location. Ride over to Ranni's Rise to talk to Ranni, which will introduce you to Iji and Seluvis. Once you've talked to everyone, and talked to Ranni one more time to send her into a slumber, head to this location in between the two towers, and strike the floor to reveal a hidden passage leading to Seluvis' hidden lab. Strike another obvious illusory wall to find the empty shell waiting for you to insert Sellen's primal glintstone. Now that the stage is set, head to the Academy of Raya Lucaria's library, which was where you fought Rennala. Head out to the entrance where you'll find two summon signs. The red one will have you summoned to fight against Sellen with Jerren, while the other one will have you defending her against him. If you side with Sellen and defeat Jerren, you'll gain his armor, the eccentric armor set, the glintstone Kriss, and after resting at a side of grace and returning to Sellen, you'll also gain her crown after witnessing what she turns into. You can also return to the spots where Azur and Lusat were to gain their armor as well. If you side with Jerren and defeat Sellen instead, you'll lose out on the opportunity to gain the glintstone Kriss and the aforementioned armor sets, but you will instead gain a very valuable ancient dragon smithing stone, which can strengthen an armament to its max level of plus 25. You'll also be able to use Sellen's shop for sorceries by gaining her bell and giving it to the Bell Maidens back at the Round Table Hold. And that is everything you need to know about Sorceress Sellen's questline in Elden Ring. Thanks for watching, and for more Elden Ring coverage, keep it here on IGN.